just want to give you a quick update on two things that have happened. This is just breaking. 3 more people have been released from Belarus. Just trying to get my arms around the news right here. 1 is a U.S. citizen who wants to remain private. 2 are non-Americans, including a Radio Liberty journalist. So here we have at least 1 U.S. citizen now released from Belarus, most of us didn't even know that there was an American citizen being held in Belarus. And this is on the heels of another U.S. citizen being released by Russia. His name is Marc Fogel, thanks to the work of Donald Trump. He was over there teaching the children of diplomats and had been there for quite some time. And he got arrested because he had marijuana, which he said he uses for medical purposes. He had 17 grams of marijuana. That actually led me to look up on my phone, how much is 17 grams of marijuana? You know me, I don't know anything about these drugs, but I did look up how much is 17 grams of marijuana, and 14 grams is a half ounce, and it looks like this. I don't know if you can see this on my phone, but it looks like basically a bowl of lettuce that you might put in a salad, maybe enough for 2 people to have a salad. And they say that 14 ounces could basically get you 28 joints. Now, this guy was using it, he says, for medicinal purposes, but the Russians, as they have been known to do, decided to say that he was going to distribute it. He was basically there in Russia to become some sort of a drug dealer with what could turn into 28 joints. I mean, it wasn't going to be a very lengthy career. I think he'd been over there for some 15 years. So they took this guy, this American citizen, Marc Fogel, they put him behind bars, and the Biden administration completely forgot about this guy. They didn't even designate him with the special sort of status that would demand that we look into what's happening to him and start bargaining for his return. They just kind of pretended that Marc Fogel didn't exist from the point he got arrested. Meantime, after he was arrested in August 2022, they negotiated for first they designated Brittany Griner, that basketball player, as illegal detained. They didn't do it for Fogle. And then they went on to negotiate for Brittany's release, but they didn't do that for this guy Fogle. A bipartisan group of U.S. senators lobbied the State Department to change his status so that he would be more likely to, qualify for a negotiated release. Biden wouldn't. It's been really strange how this guy's been completely left behind. Then this guy Fogel's mom, Megyn Fogel, age 95, showed up at the Pennsylvania campaign rally where Trump was nearly assassinated. And she told the New York Post that she explained to Trump that her son was in a Russian jail for the same crime Brittany Griner committed. Griner was in jail for 10 months before President Biden got her out. She said, "My son's been there for 3 years, and I haven't heard from President Biden or from anyone in Washington. Mr. Trump told me if I get in, I will get him out," and gave me a thumbs up. He was very cordial and sincere. And finally, in August of 2024, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan described Fogle as wrongfully detained. That was the first they'd ever done that, putting him back on the block for negotiations. It's just ridiculous. And still, remember that prisoner swap in August of 2024 when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris showed up? And it was like, who's trying to take credit for this? What's happening? He was not negotiated for, and he was not part of that prisoner swap. It's where we got the Wall Street Journal reporter, Evan Gershkovich, back. Nope, left this guy Fogle behind. And guess what? Trump's been in office for 3 weeks, and he got him. He got him back. It's amazing. Here's the video of him greeting Marc Fogel at the White House yesterday. Wow. Well, here he is outside of Air Force One. So his mom is thrilled. Megyn Fogel said thank you to Fox via an interview. Here's the proper video. She said thank you to Trump on an interview with Fox yesterday. Take a listen to that in SOT 13.
There's a chance he's watching or will see this. What would you like to say to President Trump?
I would like to thank him profusely. He promised me he would get him out, and he kept his promise. And I can't thank him enough, and Secretary Rubio also, and anybody else who's had a hand in this. I'm sure there were quite a few. that got the ball rolling. But I particularly want to thank President Trump.
Amazing. And here, look at this extraordinary tape. Here is Marc Fogel in the White House. This guy didn't even know that he was about to get released. 24 hours later, he's with the president in the White House. And here's what he had to say.
I will forever be indebted to President Trump, to Steve over there. What a dynamic man this guy is.
That's true.
And
Steve Wickoff.
I'm a middle-class school teacher who's now in a dream world.
We're going to show you the Lincoln bedroom in a little while.
And I'm so happy to be back here. And I wish I could articulate it better.
You've done beautifully, and he's got a great mother. And when I saw the mother at a rally, she said, if you win, will you get my son out? And I promised. She's 95 years old. And I said, we'll get him out. And we got him out.
Wow. And he did. And now another American, still anonymous as of now, out of Belarus. I mean, this is amazing. Trump is on a roll, folks. We'll see if he gets any credit from the left for here he is kissing the ground when he got off the plane. If he gets any credit for this from the left. I will say, credit where it's due, John Fetterman praised him. The guy, Fogle's from Pennsylvania. So did Josh Shapiro. Didn't exactly praise Trump, but said thank you to those at the White House who made his release possible. And President Obama's former Russian ambassador, Michael McFaul, he praised Trump directly. And I mean, it was explicit. Praise be to President Donald Trump. Not a phrase I get to say very often. I give him a lot of credit for doing it. I want to talk to Ana Kasparian now. She is host and executive producer of the Young Turks, and she's editor of the Unaligned Substack. Been on the program once before. Ana, welcome back. What do you make of this? It's amazing to see these Americans, all but forgotten, slowly but surely returning home.
Well, I agree with you about forgotten Americans who have either been held hostage by, authoritarian governments abroad. It's terrible. So when I see that photo of Marc Fogel kissing the ground, kissing America, essentially, it's an emotional moment. And this is one of the good things that the Trump administration has managed to do in the few short weeks that he's been in office for his second term. So credit where credit is due. Absolutely.
It does make you wonder why didn't we try harder under Joe Biden? What was the problem? Because we had Rick Grenell just got 6 Americans back home, Belarus now releasing one, Russia releasing Marc Fogel, American hostages being held by Hamas. Was it just a lack of caring? It was this is how happening. Literally, he hasn't even been in office a month.
Well, Megyn, let me just tell you, while Biden was still in office, one of the things that really infuriated me was the story of a young American citizen, Isenor Igi, who was actually protesting with some activists in the West Bank in regard to the high civilian death toll in Gaza. And Israeli snipers shot and killed her. And the Biden administration did not care. They pretended as though, the Israeli officials had launched an investigation into it, and then we never heard about it again. That was an American citizen, one of our own. And I just think it's unacceptable. So I wholeheartedly agree with anyone who's upset with any government official or administration that leaves our American citizens either in the hands of an authoritarian, government or left to die with no real investigation and no real justice. That is not leadership. So I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the case to which you referred, but there's no question, despite our, closeness with Israel, when the IDF behaves terribly, they should be held to account, and they shouldn't be in some special category where they're incapable of being criticized. That's not what friendship is. They were talking about an American citizen. That comes first. What they're saying about Fogle is that we did do a prisoner swap for him. We gave up some, I can't remember if it was an arms dealer. It wasn't a great guy. He was in prison over here from Russia. But what is it, Deb? Sorry? Cybercrime? Oh, cybercrime. All right. So that's not great, but maybe not as bad as arms dealer. And these things they always require that kind of a thing. It's like, look, 1 and 1, that's pretty good if you compare to like what's happening with Palestine and Israel right now, where they have to release like hundreds to get like 2 Americans out. I just feel like none of this stuff was ever held against Joe Biden. You never heard about it in the media. This isn't the kind of thing that the media gives 2 shits about, and that they're not going to give Trump any credit for. And it's just relatively minor example of his deal making, which they kind of mock a lot in the press, but it can be very effective. We continue to face uncertainty when it comes to the economy, with a perfect storm brewing as Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point, as the largest generation is hitting retirement. A smaller workforce means a smaller tax base. You pair that with our growing national debt and rising cost of living, and we could have a very big problem on our hands. So what are you doing now to protect your family for the future? Gold can be a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it does not cost you a cent out of pocket. Protect your future today. Text MK to 989898. Get your free info kit on gold and a copy of the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, just information. Birch Gold has earned the trust of countless Americans looking to safeguard their savings. Text my initials MK to the number 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.